Hi, my name is James White. I'm also known on the internet as Preacher James, and welcome to the very first episode of the RMP Show. That stands for Religion and Politics. I always say those are the two things you're not supposed to talk about, but I enjoy talking about. We're got two subjects. We're actually going to do part one and part two of the video. Apparently, I can only make videos that are so long. First topic: Hellbound, the movie. Got it today. Highly recommend it. This is a fantastic movie. The thing I loved about it was there are people on both sides of the argument. And actually, to be honest, the video makes a great point. There's 3 points of view. You've got the traditional view that non-believers will spend eternity in hell. You've got those in the middle that believe that believers will go to heaven, but unbelievers will be essentially destroyed, and therefore they will no longer exist. And those are called annihilationists. And then you have the universalists. Mark Driscoll's on here, former pastor of Mars Hill Church. Ray Comfort's on here. There's another gentleman, Kevin DeYoung, pastor of University Reformed Church. Not as well known, but he was pretty clear in presenting his point of view. And of course, you had people on the other side of the aisle, like Brian McLaren. He did a really good job. Sharon Baker, author of a book called Razing, Razing, Hell. She's one of those people. She's one of those women that she's just classy and very well spoken. There are a couple others on here. Robin Perry, author of The Evangelical Universalist, really liked what he had to say. Took a couple pages of notes. Robin Perry made the point that grace is strong enough to deal with sin. Of course, that's in the Bible. It's in Romans. Brian McLaren made the point that there's no concept of heaven or hell in the Hebrew Bible. And then you had the traditional, the only thing I really would caution, and I wish, obviously I love the video so much I bought the shirt. The people from Westboro Baptist, quite honestly, the only way we're going to deal with these folks is to ignore them. I'm tired of giving them airtime. They clearly are not going to change. They believe that they're right, everyone else is wrong, and they have a very hateful and mean-spirited way of going about doing their business. So, why are we giving them airtime? Why do we even consider their point of view to be valid? I'm sorry, when you have someone like Jesus that says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, and yet these people are saying God hates fags, it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, that was the video. First time around, I obviously did a lot more talking about it, but then I found out the video I made was too long. I would encourage people to go online and see Dr. James R. White from The Dividing Line attacked Rob and Kristen Bell for doing an interview with Oprah. Where are my notes on that? The thing that I noticed about the interview with Pastor Rob, and yes, I do consider him not just a spiritual teacher, but a Christian teacher. I love the book Love Wins, and so whoever it was that was on The Dividing Line with Dr. White, I think it was on the 18th of February. Yes, I have the book, and yes, I still consider him a Christian teacher. So, but the whole point of the Oprah interview was about marriage and strengthening marriage. They made the point that your marriage is as healthy as the least one of you. You know, if one of you's doing great and one of you's not, the marriage is going to suffer for it. Not entirely okay with the concept that what is yours is now ours. I do believe that each marriage partner should have some things that belong to just them. You know, you have to have boundaries. You know, this is where I begin and this is where you start. And if you can't respect that other person's boundaries, you're going to have all kinds of dysfunction and unhealthy behavior going on. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, there are plenty of good books out there about boundaries. I do agree with Pastor Rob that we have to pursue our own health first. Now, this, as he said, it does sound counterintuitive. But it's like being on an airplane. When the mask drops, you put yours on first, then you help your son or daughter. Because if you help them out and then by the time you get your mask on, you pass out, then you're really not helping anybody. Excuse me. And we do bring ourselves, all of us, you know, in that space in between us and our partner, that's sacred space. Yeah, but we bring all of us, all of ourselves, all of our baggage, all of our past, our patterns. We bring all of that, and I totally agree with Pastor Rob on that. And I would also go a step further in saying that, and they mentioned this in the full interview. I do believe it's available on Oprah.com. That we are responsible for the energy we bring into a room. Now, understand, I'm not new agey. I'm not, I don't have candles and all this stuff. The only reason I got this Buddha lamp is because it does this cool stuff when you touch it. So, ironically, one of the few things that I agree with Dr. White is his love of lava lamps. If you ever watch The Dividing Line, there's usually a lava lamp going in the background, so I guess imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, then I guess this is flattery. Because even though I don't agree with Dr. White's theology, I still hold them in the highest of respect. It was something else that was in that Rob Bell video I wanted to mention. Yes, the fact that when we go into a room, we are responsible for the energy we bring. And I would say that we need to be as Christ-like as possible. We need to emulate Christ. We need to be that great example to not only to our spouse, to our partner, but to our kids as well. So, wow, the short version took 8 minutes and the long one took an hour. I would say this, while we were making the other video, which unfortunately was too long, I mentioned that I had the book from Jack Rogers called Jesus, the Bible, and Homosexuality. And I very briefly covered the verses, and I'll do that here again, because there are some passages that people try to use against homosexuality, or homosexuals, both men who are gay and women who are lesbians, and it just doesn't make any sense. If you read Leviticus 18 and try to apply that to all people at all times, well, in my own personal study, verse 10, it's either verse 10 or 11, says that you're not supposed to get married to your half-sister. Well, if it applies to all people at all times, then Abraham married his half-sister. So what he did was wrong by the Levitical law. Obviously, nobody who's Jewish would say that, because Abraham is considered the patriarch. Then Leviticus 20, you've got another mention of homosexuality, but it also says that those who commit adultery are worthy of, essentially saying that those who commit adultery have committed a capital offense. Nobody in today's society would say that adultery, off with their head. Nobody would say that. So why would you apply that to all people at all time? I don't know. I do know this: if you wanted to be a Levitical priest back then, your dad had to be a Levitical priest, which means that the priests needed to make lots of babies so that then they would have more Levitical priests. So it didn't matter what your sexual orientation was, you had to go make babies so that they would have more Levites. Of course, the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing, in Genesis 19, I would encourage you to look up the passage in Ezekiel. It talks about hospitality, which doesn't sound like a big deal to us, but back then in that culture, it was huge. You were expected to take in a stranger who was going through your town, give them something to eat, give them a place to stay. I'm sorry. And send them on their way. So, no, that does not apply to today's, where you have two men or two women who are being committed to one another in a relationship. Romans 1 deals with idolatry. 1 Corinthians 6 and 1 Timothy 1, the word malakos is used. In the New Revised Standard, it says sodomites. I believe, as does Jack Rogers, that you're dealing with an adult and a child, and obviously sexually abusing children is wrong. And that's something that, quite frankly, the liberals need to pay attention to, because there are groups like NAMDA who are trying to be legitimate, and they're promoting pedophilia. And that's wrong. Now, a question that Dr. Michael Brown from the East Coast has asked, and it's a legitimate question: why just 2? Why not 3 or 4 or 5? My understanding of the Bible, when I read it, every time there's more than 2 people involved in that type of relationship, there's always a favorite. And that's not fair to the one that's not the favorite. Jacob's the best example. You've got Rachel and you've got Leah. Leah, Jacob's sleeping with her, but he's not in love with her. She's having children for him. He still doesn't love her. He's using her, is essentially what he's doing. And that's wrong. So, anytime there's more than 2 people, there's going to be favorites. Second, the reason there just needs to be 2 people is because we need those healthy boundaries. So, we're not redefining marriage. We're simply expanding who can participate. It's 2 committed people, the rest of their lives, committed to each other forever, until death do them part. So, and one more thing real quick. Dr. White likes to talk about mirror image. Well, hate to burst your bubble, Dr. White, because I think you're a great guy. I really do. But no 2 guys are the same. Even twins are different. So, just logic will tell you that one. You're not marrying a mirror image. You are marrying a different person, whether it's 2 men or 2 women. They're different in personalities. They're different in how they think. They're different in how they act. They are different. They may not be as far as their private areas might be the same, but they don't act the same. I don't know about you, but I have met, give or take, at least 200 different men who are gay or women who are lesbian. I've only met a couple by people that are bisexual, and they express that to me privately. And I've met one or two, no, it's more than two, people that are transgender. Which shouldn't be a problem because, if a man, actually converts and gets the surgical procedure done, physically he's a woman. Now she is a woman, so there shouldn't be a problem there. But, of course, our conservative friends don't see it that way. Anyway, I had to make a change at the last minute for the format of the show. I will say this. I am going to try to learn how to do a live show and see what happens. So there are going to be more episodes of the RMP show. They're coming. So they're going to be longer than 10 minutes, I'll tell you that. But if you have feedback, send me an email, preacherjames34@gmail.com, or you can go to the website, preacherjames.com. I hope you have a great weekend. My goal is to have a new video out every week, so by March 6th, there should be episode 2 available on YouTube. So have a wonderful weekend, take care, and God bless. Bye. Please go to preacherjames.com.